the 15th episode of the WWJ Industry Connected Podcast, a monthly podcast devoted to the groundwater industry produced by the National Groundwater Association. I'm your host, Mike Price, and today we're joined by David Lipson, Ph.D., PG of HRS Water Consultants Inc. in Lakewood, Colorado. We discussed the 2025 fly-in that took place in March in Washington, D.C., and the most pressing topics discussed. And we welcome to the podcast David Lipson, Ph.D., PG of HRS Water Consultants Inc. in Lakewood, Colorado, who serves on NGWA's Scientists and Engineers Section Board of Directors. David, good to see you. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing fine, thanks. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We excited to talk to you about the fly-in today with you. So this fly-in marked your 11th fly-in, dating back to 2014. And I should note as well, you received the 2022 Standard Bearer Award winner award from NGWA, which is given to a volunteer involved in the legislative process on behalf of NGWA and its initiatives. So the association really greatly appreciates all your work on the legislative side of things.
It's been a wonderful journey, and I'm proud to have NGWA as a partner.
Well, thanks for jumping on the podcast. And this year in particular was kind of crazy for you. You were on the back of a drill site at the end of the week, according to your social media handle, which everyone should follow on X, doc_rock. How are you able to do that?
It was a busy week. I was in DC Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, came back Thursday, and oftentimes we work with our drillers and adapt to their schedules. And so for this particular project, the driller had an opening on the Friday, and we scrambled, and I went out there with one of our junior staff to do the rig site geology. Okay,
I was going to ask you what all work entailed there.
Yeah, this was a relatively shallow monitoring well. It was for a litigation case, and our job is really to log the soils, understand the geology, and then create the well design and work with the drillers on the well design. And that was accomplished all in the one day.
It's a good day to get it all done.
Yes.
Well, let's talk flying with NGWA and WQA. Good turnout this year. So excited to talk to you about things and get a recap for those who weren't in attendance at the event, so they can hear from you on the. Let's start with the three top pressing topics coming out of flying. So we record this on April 10th, but tariff news came up while you were there.
Yes, that's true. The way NGWA organizes these things, there's quite a bit of legislative activities that NGWA monitors. We're provided a bit of a menu of the top issues, and it's a little bit up to the attendees which issues are more important to them, either in their practice or in their particular region or state. I felt that the three top pressing issues this year were the tariffs, the Healthy H2O Act, and the Water Resources Development Act. So those were the three topics that I focused on this year.
And you had, what I heard, a handful plus of meetings with legislative aides and the representative. Is that correct?
That's correct. I went for it all this year, and ended up at eight meetings, congressional meetings with legislative staff, and to the two senators from Colorado and six representatives. Of course, the actual politicians were really busy with some big picture issues, but so we met with the legislative aides this year.
Well, good for you. 8. Is that an all-time high on all these fly-ins?
It very well may be. It's certainly an all-time high for me.
Very good. So yeah, tariffs, you want to talk what you were able to convey to the aides regarding tariffs in our industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I usually start off by explaining to the legislators or their aides or whoever shows up at these meetings who NGWA is and what we do and why groundwater is super important and valuable. Tariffs are a major concern in our industry because water wells are made of steel, and if the steel is coming from outside the country, then that raises the price, and that puts pressure on our drillers because they're going to have to, pay more for the well products and pass those costs along to clients, and that makes it a more challenging business environment. And also on the groundwater monitoring and remediation side of things, we use pressure transducers and water level measurement devices, and even some remediation products that are made outside the country. And same concern is that those are really just going to make our work more expensive, and we have to then pass that along to clients. And that makes clients not as willing to spend money. The other issue with the tariffs is delays. If that slows down the whole supply chain, then that creates scheduling delays in our industry, and that can also impact the bottom line. So anyway, that was the issue. The top issue I discussed with at my meetings.
Okay. And second on that is the Healthy H2O Act for the point of use and point of entry funding for a grant program to assist private well owners with the purchase, installation, and maintenance of POE and POU systems. How'd those conversations go?
Yeah, they went really well. These are pretty safe topics in the political arena. Everyone agrees that clean water for people is a basic right, and one of the things that makes our country great. So the Healthy H2O Act its history is a little interesting. It was introduced as a separate bill a few years ago that basically got shot down, but it's not dead in the water. And so the ask is to include the H2O Act in the Farm Bill, which is up for re-legislation either this year or next year. So we asked to include the Healthy H2O Act in the Farm Bill. Everybody agrees that the Farm Bill needs to be reauthorized or re-legislated, and everyone agreed that the Healthy H2O Act needs to be a part of that. So it was both topics, frankly, were really well received. And when I met with legislative aides on both sides of the aisle, they all agreed that tariffs are going to be an issue, and they all agreed that this Healthy H2O Act is a great idea. Because in Colorado in particular, there's a lot of people on private water wells. Our state is somewhat donut shaped, where we've got Denver in the middle and a few other metropolitan areas in the Front Range, and everybody else in the state almost is on a private water well. And when I'm talking to congressional representatives for Colorado Congressional District 3, which is all of Western Colorado, they hear that. Most of it's really powerful to walk into a legislative meeting and say, do you know a majority of your constituents are on private water wells? And most people don't know that, and they don't even know what a water well is. And that's, I'm saying that tongue in cheek, but it really does raise eyebrows when we start talking about the number of people on private water wells and their needs, and how they need resources.
And then the third pressing topic that you saw from the fly-in.
That's managed aquifer recharge is one of the most innovative, elegant solutions our industry offers in the realm of drought resiliency and planning for drought. Managed aquifer recharge is essentially injecting or recharging excess or extra water into aquifers and using aquifers as reservoirs, that the water can then be withdrawn at a later time during a drought. And these projects are under the purview of the Water Resources Development Act, which I believe authorizes the Army Corps of Engineers to perform feasibility studies and weigh in on the permitting process. And so our ask was to authorize Army Corps of Engineers to review and approve managed aquifer recharge projects. Mm-hmm. Again, that was real well received in Colorado and the southwestern states in general, because we're prone to having droughts, and the droughts change, and sometimes they're really deep and long. And again, our technology, our resources, our expertise provides a very elegant solution to drought resiliency and planning.
And then other topics from the fly-in, the geothermal tax credits, extending those, which has, been really a key to propelling that market up and off and going from 2022. The current federal tax credit is for 30% for installations, and this is in place from 2022 through 2032. As noted, though, the credit will decrease to 26% in 2033 and 22% in 2034 before expiring. Again, clean energy dependence. I assume this is a kind of a fun, good talk with folks in DC as well.
It is fairly safe topic. It is an alternative energy source. Geothermal, has been and continues to be a part of our energy portfolio in this country. And as you said, there are tax credits that are due to phase out over the coming years. And our ask on the geothermal tax credits was to extend the tax credits at the current level. And the geothermal energy, systems are important to NGWA because these systems require drilling and design, and there's a real crossover into water resources. Here in Colorado, the geothermal well drilling rules are based on the water well drilling rules and are designed to protect aquifers from cross-contamination. And that has been known to happen if a geothermal driller inadvertently drills into a confined aquifer. There's very specific rules here about how those wells are to be constructed. So there is a clear crossover into our industry.
Mm-hmm. Very well. Yes, geothermal seems to be really hitting its stride, and the tax credits are just really helping propel it forward. So that would be great to see it extended for sure.
Yeah, we've never gotten resistance or too much negative pushback or anything on geothermal. Well, people often ask me, was the fly-in successful? And I think that's it depends on how you define success. What I've learned is that we can enact change. We can implement change, but it takes time and effort, and change is slow and incremental. So yeah, it took, NGWA, Water Quality Association, have been ringing the bell on PFAS for 10 years. We're the only associations I know of that have been lobbying for PFAS MCLs. So was the fly-ins have been successful from that perspective? Absolutely. That to 10 years to get an MCL on an emerging contaminant is light speed. in the government. There are still emerging contaminants from the 1990s that do not have MCLs. So I think these NGWA fly-ins are successful if you look at the whole program over many, many years. Did anything change this year? Probably not.
That's a great reminder, David. Like you've said, it takes patience, persistence, and consistent messaging to get things done in DC. And your efforts have not gone unmerited there. So lastly, creating avenues for veterans and their family members to join the water well industry. Really curious to hear how those conversations went in DC.
Yeah, another safe topic. Everybody I talk to, it supports our veterans, wants them to lead good, productive lives and be taken care of. So there's no pushback on that. Yep. And we had a couple of specific asks about including veterans in workforce development activities. And I know in my own business here, we have a veteran on staff. I was so proud to find someone like that who wanted to join the industry. We rolled out the welcome mat, and I think most of my colleagues feel the same way. So yeah, that was very well received on Capitol Hill. Again, no pushback, and I'd love to see that promoted even more widely through NGWA.
Yeah, duly noted. Yeah. Well, yeah. Any other pressing thoughts from the fly-in that come to mind from your time there?
Again, it's a challenging regulatory environment these days. I can tell you this, for every senator, for every representative, they have an entire staff of people supporting them. And it's the legislative aides and the staffs that are really doing the work of government. And you don't see them on TV, right? You see the headlines about this politician or that politician. The people that I met with in DC this year on both sides of the aisle were engaged. They were asking good questions. They wanted to know what our issues were, what affected our business. And I came back fairly optimistic that the government is still doing its job. If you look behind the headlines, there are people who care and are listening. And it speaks to what you said. We've got to keep up the full court press and remind them who we are and why we're there and why groundwater is so valuable to the success of this country.
So during the fly-in, you have a prepared speech you give the aide or the representative. Can you indulge us with what that is?
Yes, be happy to.
Great.
Yeah. This is what I tell legislative aides when I meet with them on Capitol Hill, and in past years when senators and congresspeople have shown up. This is what I say. A water well, to me, is a symbol of freedom. If you want to live on a ranch, if you want to live on a farm, if you want to live in the plains, if you want to live in the mountains, if you want to live in an island, if you want to live off the grid, you need a water well. And some significant percentage of your constituents are water well owners. And in especially rural areas, a majority of your constituents are water well owners. Now, the Safe Drinking Water Act protects people living in cities and provides them with clean water. However, if you do live in a rural area or off the grid, you are responsible for your own water. And that is why we are here today, to advocate for water well users, water well owners.
Again, David, thank you for your time today and for all your years of attending the fly-in and serving on the Scientists and Engineers Section Board of Directors as well. So viewers, for more information on the 2025 fly-in, please check waterwelljournal.com and the May issue of Waterwell Journal for a full recap of the event. Thanks, David, and all the best.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for watching and listening to the WWJ Industry Connected Podcast. We'll be back next month with a brand new episode, so be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the major platforms, so it will be easy to find us. And visit waterwelljournal.com for the latest expert columns, feature articles, videos, and news covering the groundwater industry. So one more time for David and I, thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.